Yep. What's up, everybody, and welcome to this mental channel. I'm your host, Swiss Johnson, and you already know, if you've been to this channel, we talk about everything mental health. If you're new to the channel, what's up? If you're a supporter of the channel, good to see you. Today, we're going to be diving into social work. Before we deep dive into social work, we're going to have to touch on a few things. If you're feeling my vibe, like, share, and subscribe. You can catch all my clips on social medias like Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, and of course YouTube. So if you follow me so far, what's up? How you doing? So I've been having a great time. Things have been going good. You know, the channel's up and running. We got some gear now. As you see, we got some mics. You know, we got some headphones. We got speakers. Thanks to everybody that's been supporting the show, and they've been throwing things to me, making sure that the show does what it's supposed to do. For those of you who are not familiar with what we like to do here in this channel, we like to do interviews, conversations, have panels, commentary. We are visiting the social services domain. We're bringing it down to the base level where we're having conversations, and we got to have it here, or we're going to bring it down here. I want everyone to be able to be a part of the conversation. So if you've been practicing mental health, then you understand that it's a conversation that's been happening more often these days. I love that for y'all out there who's tapping in and start working on their mental health when it comes to anxieties, depression, and just overall stresses that we go through life. Before we get into this, watch my other videos as we take in the social work serious. So I've been talking about social workers and social work for the last few sessions. So I broke down what the difference was between social workers and social work, the three different areas of therapy, counseling, and mental health specialists. If you want to understand the difference between the three and like how to balance it and which one would be suitable for you, I encourage you to watch those videos. Also, soon I'm going to be launching my coaching courses. So if you're interested in working with me and having one-to-one sessions, and we're talking about your mental health, or if you want to do a group thing, you can sign up. I'll have that inside of my bios on my social media. Preferably, I think I'll have it on the Instagram. So I think my one-to-one sessions is going to be about anxieties, eating disorders, and how to have self-improvement. So we're going to start with that, and that's for anybody in all ages. If you're looking to try to get on board and be a mentor, I got that going on too. I got a few people that I'm working alongside with. So if you're interested in coming on board as a coach, let me know. Hit me in my DMs. I can show you how to get that done. My CSWA, which is the Clinical Social Work Associate, and then I can get the QMHP, which is the Qualified Mental Health Profession. Yeah, I'm working out here, people. Let's jump into it. What is the NASW? The NASW, National Association for Social Workers, is a code of ethics. It's a guide for social workers to make sure that they're keeping their values and making sure that they're being ethical inside of the practice. It is also a guideline for people who are getting services that they can understand and get familiar with it, so they can hold the social workers or the therapists to the ethical conduct. So how do you do that? So basically, it's different domains. So social justice, dignity and worth, importance of being a human, relationships, integrity and competence. So those are the 6 values that we focus on. I'm still learning as I go, but I'm getting the education down pat. Let me get some of this juice. So while there are 6 core values, there are 7 principles that as a social worker you must follow. And the 7 are individualization, purposeful impression, controlled environment, acceptance, non-judgment, client self-mediation. Remember that terminology. And confidentiality. The NASW was a guide to put in so it could protect not just the social worker, but also protect the client. If you're just coming into the field, I want you to really understand is that the Code of Ethics of the National Association of Social Work guide is not to protect you inside of the court of law. What it is a guide so you can make sure that you're staying within the guide of being a profession. It's to protect you with your licensure. However, if you are following the code of conduct inside, let's just say that you give someone some misinterpreted information, or you misdiagnose someone and they want to try you inside a court, whatever organization that you work in, they're supposed to have that protection over you. But ASW is only to make sure that you are following the guides to the most effective way possible. Actually created in the 1960s. It was revised 2 times since then. I think the first one was in 1970. I think the latest one was back in the early 2000s, 2008. There are actually 4 sections inside of the Code of Ethics: children, families, colleagues, community, and society. The 4 sections, and when we're talking about the children, that means that it's the safety of the children. When we're talking about the families, we're looking at the cognitive behaviors, not just the children, but also like the parents as well. And we'll look at it on the ecological or the systematic theory side. Now, when we're talking about the National Association of Social Work, and I'm breaking down all of these terminologies in these different areas, there are more sections, but when it reads, when you're reading it, what you're going to get out of it is the ethics in itself. And there's 4 categories of the ethics. So I'm going to be breaking down the 4. The first one is preamble. What the preamble covers is the social core and values. The second one is purpose. The social worker's purpose, what it covers is the social worker's practices. It's the practice of the ethics. And third, you have the ethical practices. And the third one, it covers the ethics inside of the professional setting. That can be the office, the schools, the clinic, the rehabilitation center. So it's your practice inside of a setting and making sure that you're still remaining ethical and you're not breaking any of the licensors and any other practices, and you making sure that you still keeping your professionalism. So the last one is standards, and the standards is how you conduct yourself as a social worker. That just wraps up all inside of the NASW as a social worker. You want to make sure that you're being held accountable for diagnosing, being held accountable for the guidance, for the structure, and you making sure that you're conducting yourself as a productive member, not just as a professional, but also as a productive member in society. Let me remind y'all that once you take these oaths, when you get inside these helping professions, you become a helping professional. What you got to remember is that you are now licensed by the states, by your cities, by your communities. So not only on the clock, off the clock, you have to hold yourself to a certain standard. You have to lead by example at all times. That means that you can't no longer be outside turning up. You can, but you gotta keep it cute. How you conducting yourself is it's not just on the clock, it's also in your personal life too. So anybody who's been inside the profession, they should know this a little bit more verbatim. It's like the social worker's Bible. So you want to make sure that you understand the 4 sections and you following the ethical codes. So you want to make sure that you know the NASW. You want to make sure that you understand the NASW. Sure that you understand the different sections as far as conduct, ethical settings, practices, and you want to make sure that you're giving off the best information. As a client, you want to make sure you familiarize yourself with the code of ethics so you can make sure that your practitioner, the person that you're going to see for sessions, for counseling, they are being held accountable for their expectations as a clinical practitioner. With the code of ethics, you want to make sure that they are respecting your dignity, they are treating you with integrity, they are making sure that they're talking to you as a person, they're being informative, they're keeping you in the loop. Making sure that they're practicing, the interview skills and they're giving it to you in a proper manner. If you don't know what social work interview skills are, the type of different approaches that they can have, I'll just to name a few, I'll give you a little bit for the client so you can understand it, and providers as well. If you forgot, like, let me remind y'all: empathetic, direct questions, ended questions, self-disclosure. As far as social workers, here's where it gets tricky. As far as social workers, and I'll touch on that in like other areas of social work as we unravel with the series, is that like when it comes to self-disclosure, unlike addiction and recovery therapists and counselors, or someone who's being a peer mentor, or a person who's being a therapist, but even you gotta shed light as social workers, you gotta be very careful how you self-disclose when it comes to that interview style. Even with the NASW, like, you still could put yourself inside of a area where it could be a red flag. So I encourage you to kind of practice that skill. I'm even practicing it too. Even the most seasoned will tell you self-disclosing as a social worker it could definitely put you inside of a situation where it's like, uh-oh. So that's one of, but those are some, just to name a few. So I don't want to keep going on. I gave you the basics of it. It was just a crash course. So now you understand what the NASW is. Again, it's the National Association for Social Workers, and it's the Code of Ethics. So the clients could be familiar and they could hold the social worker accountable. Hope you learned a thing or two right now. So if you liking what I'm doing and you feeling that again, I want to let you guys know that you can like, share, and subscribe. Follow me for more mental health commentary, lessons, education. And you can also catch the interviews on the Let's Talk About It podcast side of it, where I'm interviewing people from all walks of life and they come up on the show. We talk about their brands, projects that's coming along, get some strategies. We got experts, rappers, authors. We got tarot readings, conspiracy theorists. We got a lot of things that's about to start coming on again, so I encourage you to watch those episodes if you haven't caught them. And with that being said, I ain't going to keep dragging y'all. Hope you learned something. Love y'all. Miss y'all. Peace.